Stop the bailouts for the banks, Wall Street, hedge funds and big pharma. Stop the bailouts, we can't save a fragile economy with bailouts. Stop bailing out big businesses, airline bailouts and bank bailouts. The governments shouldn't support unhealthy businesses that are going bankrupt in a few months anyway. That would just be a waste of money. These big businesses don't learn their lesson because they aren't allowed to fail. The taxpayers, much like in 2009, will take the brunt of this whole situation. People just don't know it yet. Big business isn't going to learn their lesson because they don't have to. Much like a spoiled rich kid who's crashed his third exotic car, they know they'll get another one soon, and someone else will pay for it. Big business knows that the federal government will always bail them out regardless of Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal, whatever is in government. Anybody who thought Donald Trump would do anything different bought his lie and got trumped. In 2008, the bank's too big to fail. In 2020, the system is too big to fail. The strong survive, and the weak don't. Those were the original rules of the game. That was the purest form of capitalism. Now crony capitalism is king. Big businesses will never be allowed to fail because they are headed by people who went to the right schools when they were younger. All big business CEOs etc. are put in place purposefully. They are part of the elite's plan to rule over us all the while stealing our tax money and subsidies. Just like personal finance, each business and its management should plan for unexpected events, even though this particular case is an extreme cause no one could have predicted. Each business should have 6 to 8 months of payroll and expenses in reserves. The government bailout money is taxpayer money, and even if they are printing new money, it still comes at every American expense through inflation. When the Fed prints money, we are effectively paying taxes to the government while our currency gets devalued. The government doesn't lose anything, but American citizens lose a lot. The government and big businesses are partners to rob us. Big banks and airlines are doing exactly what they have been financially incentivized to do. Rip off American taxpayers and expect free Fed dollars. The real purpose of the bailouts isn't to stimulate the economy. They're to transfer the bank's losses to the taxpayers. He who gets bailed out first gets bailed out best. Banks, Boeing, all the rest of the chosen ones. Bailouts and low interest rates are what cause the fragility of the economy. Natural selection would dictate that we allow weak hands to fail to have a strong economy. The purpose of the bailouts is not to save the system, but to create enough cushion to transition to a new, non-market, post-capitalist technocratic system. The virus was used as an excuse to provoke the policy response of shutdown, lockdown, which popped the everything bubble, allowing for extreme measures by the Fed and the government. The economy has been placed in Fed receivership for reorganization along technocratic socialist lines. Markets are now officially dead, and centralized management has been established. The labor force has been started along the path towards dependency via UBI beta test programs such as the $1,200 payment and the expanded unemployment benefits. The Corona panic was essentially a controlled demolition. While there may be occasional controlled demolitions of select areas of the financial system or economy from time to time, there will be no uncontrolled collapse. The financial system and monetary system are corrupt and parasitic. There is not enough consensus to change things. The only way to change it is to blow it up. The Fed will think they are saving it by bailing out everything under the sun when instead their MMT, hyperinflation, will destroy the currency and hyperinflate away the debts. What we'll be left with is a weaker currency, a return to US manufacturing, an end to the illusion of free money and debt without end, a shrinking of the financial industry. Those that gambled their savings in the financial Ponzi will find it gone. It will just take walking through fire to get to the other side, but I believe it will be better than where we are at. We are now in the post-capitalist era. Markets no longer exist. There has been an economic coup. The virus was used to create a policy response that popped the everything bubble and facilitated cover to place the bankrupt and insolvent economy in receivership. The central bank cartel is the receiver. A managed reorganization is in progress that will allow the economy to re-emerge from receivership, but it will not be the same economy. When the Fed extends more credit debt to governments, corporations and small businesses to save the economy after production and service provision have massively declined and continues to decline, the result does not immediately restore production and services. Real economic growth is always much slower than economic collapse. Disillusioned and angry citizens will soon start looking for people to blame for their loss and hardship. They were cheated during the 2008-2009 financial crisis and market collapse. They will not accept excuses for this 2020 economic disaster. Best keep them fearful and locked up at home. All the shifting pushes all wealth into the pockets of predators, not producers. So when the whole mess collapses, the predators will own almost everything, and the producers will own little more than an astronomical pile of debt. The currency is their tool and weapon. They will utilize it until it is destroyed and zero utility left. Not sure how anybody could see them as doing anything else. This fiat money system was designed to do exactly what it has done for 100 years and what it is doing now. The perps made ludicrous fortunes. They played the people of this country for rubes. And when the whole thing pops, they will blame the current president, probably Trump, as the fall guy. And tens of millions of mindless bots will believe them. What I can't figure out is what happens when the Fed owns everything in a worthless currency. The point is that the top of the power pyramid is beyond corrupt and parasitic. They are pure evil. They secretly commit unspeakable acts. But they are not stupid. The fact that they built this system to collapse it, which they are currently in the midst of, will probably lead to an even more evil and tyrannical system unless enough sheeple pull their heads out of the matrix, which appears unlikely. Welcome back to the Atlantis Report. You are here for your daily dose of the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Wall Street got $7 trillion. You maybe got $1,200 bucks. The Fed has put $7 trillion into Wall Street and the financial sector in various ways. Directly into banks, lending programs, etc. We the people got basically nothing. We got squat. Some people got a one-time $1,200 check, and many people are on unemployment benefits, which are temporary. But we gave unlimited amounts of money for the financial sector. We, the people, are getting screwed by the policymakers over and over and over again. Inequality is a product of the system. It's a product of policy. We are the losers, and a very small group of firms and elites are the winners. Constantly over and over and over again. What we get is self-imprisonment, self-unemployment, self-destruction. The power that be are getting the citizens to punish themselves into starvation, bankruptcy, and homelessness. We didn't have a strong economy before Corona. A strong economy doesn't have rates at 1% or lower and trillion-dollar budget and trade deficits. Those are signs of a weak economy. The United States economy was still weak from 2008 and needed COVID as cover to print dollars like crazy. Bailouts are for the super rich and corporations. Poor people are just taxpayers and should not ask for anything in return for their tax money. The problem is financialism. Capitalism has a bankruptcy code. Financialism doesn't. It just bails bad assets. This originates from 1987, with Ben Bernanke's response to the market crash. It needs abolishing. We need to get back to saving and investing in the future and not borrowing our way to prosperity. The Democrat promise to spend other people's money, i.e., give out free stuff, will always win in the end. The more badly the economy is managed, the more people are deliberately made dependent upon the state, and the more people vote for the handouts. That's why the Democrats love no borders, as it brings in more dependents and more voters. Not saying the Republicans are any better, but it's a fact. Or just as Peter Schiff puts it, people vote for freebies, not for freedom. The average Americans used to beg, now, even medium-sized businesses started to beg. The big corporations have been begging for years. What an exceptional country and exceptional people. What should have happened is the government should have let all the big companies failing, everybody loses their job and then received absolutely no help whatsoever from the federal government. And the economy and society should have been left to completely collapse into chaos, and then a beautiful capitalist and free market would have emerged. But that's not their plan. Their plan is to use those in government offices to reduce their financial losses. Those making the decisions are just knowingly kicking the can down the road. That's the only plan. The idea those in government could make plans to do anything productive is a farce. They can't pull off the simplest of tasks, balancing a budget, running things on time and on budget, protecting freedom. The list goes on. And now, they want to run the economy and control the temperature of the earth. But who is to blame? Us, the sheep. But there's no master plan. They, the government, just simply are all on the same team, with the same selfish motives, as we all have. The only difference is we have given them the key to our tax dollars to use, with almost zero oversight. The majority of people is no longer capable of taking responsibility and accept the consequences for their own actions. Bailouts, handouts, benefits, Medicare, government-paid insurance, subsidies, etc., are just samples of the myriad ways in which we express our unwillingness to accept the outcomes of reality. Already 40 million forcibly unemployed. And Dow up 300 points. Just a matter of time before someone goes off. Then it will be like the dominoes fall scene in V as for Vendetta. Do you know what's going to happen? No. But I can guess. Someone will do something stupid. The government is going to have to do another round of handouts, or the pitchforks will be coming out in June. Our wealth comes from the people's ability to labor cooperatively. Governments do not produce wealth, the people do. The government is the real consumer in the equation. Sadly, as the dollar drops further in value, we will all continue to be forced to use it for trade, and those affiliated most closely with the government will be greatly enriched. This can only change when the dollar is no longer used for savings, trade, and to value our labor. It will be a painful transition. The longer we delay, the more painful it may be. Do you see it now? That wasn't really hard at all. We abandoned our lives, our friends, and our own families, our livelihoods, and we willingly imprisoned ourselves. I'm sure we all thought that we were too sophisticated to fall for old tricks. Far too clever and wise, with our modern technology, to be manipulated by lies. But you have seen it for yourself now. In the space of a few weeks, we gave up everything. It's happened before. In 2008 they robbed us blind with the banking crisis. We have all been in debt ever since. Our children can't even afford to live where they were raised anymore. And just look at us, right now, today. We have given up our lives for a lie. Everyone, I'm sorry, we're just too easy to fool. Over recent years, I have watched a lot of pain. But by far, the most painful thing is the truth. USA has become a nation of people not responsible for their actions because they know Uncle Sugar will bail them out. Well, guess what? The Uncle Sugar has run dry. There's no more lining left on the brakes. Get ready for a new era. The era of responsibility for one's actions. 3 problems. Top 10% control 90% of the wealth. 85% of the Fed funny bucks go the top 10%. The bottom 70% are fiscally irresponsible due to the illusion the society has created that in order to be happy you have to have a nice house, 2 nice cars, 2 nice vacations a year, 3 nice flat screens TVs, 2 or 3 nice kids, a really nice birthday party for each of those kids every year, really expensive groceries every week, a couple of dinners out each week, and so much more. Why? Because we are shallow and bored, and that's what others are doing on Facebook and all the other lame social media sites. Due to the top 25% driving up the price of everything, that dream is no longer possible, and each bust cycle makes it that much harder for the bottom 75%. Hence, divorce rates skyrocketing, an economy in a perpetual shitter even with all the stimulus, and zero rates. There is no way out unless you start paying the bottom 75% every year just to breathe air. Not a real solution. Real solution, stop kicking the can down the road and let reality hit. It will be a tough 25 years, but we will come out of it with a new generation that understands budgets and the word no. Until then, the clock is ticking, no escaping what is coming our way soon. The Fed needs to understand, when you're in a hole, stop digging. This was the Atlantis Report. Please like, share, subscribe. And please take some time to subscribe to my backup channels. I do upload videos there too. You'll find the links in the description box. You will also find a PayPal link if you want to make a donation. Thank you wholeheartedly to all those of you who have already donated. Stay safe and healthy, friends.